Hello, and welcome to Daily English Stories and Podcasts today. I'm really glad you chose to spend this quiet moment here. This channel is a peaceful space for slow breathing and learning. A gentle place where English grows naturally inside your heart. So please, sit comfortably and relax your tired shoulders now. Let your thoughts slow down as we begin together. Today's story is called The Dog Next Door. It is about patience, connection, and unexpected friendship. It began on a soft and cloudy Saturday morning. The sky looked pale and slightly sleepy above the rooftops. I was standing quietly in my small kitchen alone. A warm cup of tea rested gently between my hands. Sunlight was slowly moving across the wooden floor. I had been waiting all week for this peaceful moment. No emails, no meetings, no rushing anywhere today. Just breathing slowly and enjoying the quiet around me. Outside, birds were singing softly in the trees. Everything felt calm, gentle, and beautifully ordinary. Then suddenly, loud barking broke the silence outside. Sharp sounds echoed between buildings again and again. At first, I tried to ignore it calmly. I told myself dogs bark and mornings change naturally. But the noise continued without stopping. My quiet morning started slipping away slowly. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath. Tension was already climbing into my shoulders. I walked toward the window and looked outside carefully. The dog was running circles inside a small fenced yard. He was barking, jumping, spinning, full of restless energy. No one was standing outside with him. Did not look angry or aggressive at all. He looked lonely, bored, and overwhelmed by his own excitement. At first, I felt annoyed quietly and honestly. But something softer started growing inside my chest. Maybe he was not trying to disturb anyone. Maybe he was simply asking to be noticed. I stood there quietly for several long minutes. I wondered what I should do next. I could complain to the neighbors immediately. I could stay inside feeling irritated all morning. But instead, I slowly put on my shoes. I walked calmly toward the wooden fence next door. As I approached, the barking suddenly stopped. The dog froze, then ran toward me excitedly. His tail wagged wildly from side to side. His eyes looked bright, curious, and hopeful. I knelt down and spoke in a soft voice. I pulled a small biscuit from my jacket pocket. I held it carefully through the fence. He sniffed it, then gently took it from my hand. He sat down immediately without any command. He chewed slowly with deep, happy focus. The yard became quiet again. My chest felt lighter than before. In that moment, something shifted inside me. I realized I had made a small connection. The next morning, the barking started again, but this time I was not annoyed anymore. I walked outside without hesitation or fear.
The dog saw me and ran over happily.
Today, I brought a small rubber ball. I rolled it gently across the grass. His ears lifted quickly. His body exploded into joyful motion. He chased the ball and brought it back proudly. He repeated this peaceful game several times. Soon he was panting, tongue hanging sideways. Finally, he lay down quietly in the shade. I smiled softly and walked back inside. My heart felt calm instead of stressed today. Over the next few days, I noticed patterns. The dog barked most when he felt bored. He had been waiting for attention every morning. He had been asking for simple interaction. So every day, I spent 5 minutes with him. Sometimes we played, sometimes I just sat nearby. Sometimes I talked softly about my plans. Sometimes I simply breathed beside him quietly. He started waiting calmly by the fence. His barking slowly faded into silence. Some mornings, I brought him small treats. Other mornings, I brought nothing but my quiet presence. Still, he waited patiently every single day. His eyes followed me like we shared a secret routine. One morning, I noticed someone watching from the doorway. A woman stood there holding a cup of coffee. She looked surprised, then smiled gently at me. She raised her hand and waved awkwardly. I waved back, feeling slightly shy suddenly. Shh. She walked closer and introduced herself softly. She said she had just moved in recently. Her voice sounded tired but kind. She apologized for the barking with embarrassment. She explained she was working long hours lately. She said the dog was adjusting to many changes. New house, new street, new smells, new sounds. I nodded slowly and listened carefully. I told her he was actually a very sweet dog. She looked relieved hearing those simple words. Her shoulders dropped as she finally relaxed. She thanked me for spending time with him. She said she noticed he barked much less now. I told her it helped me too. It had become part of my quiet mornings. She smiled again, this time with warmth. We stood there talking about small, ordinary things. About weather changes in neighborhood cafes. About how strange moving feels sometimes. Since that day, things slowly began changing. She started waking earlier to walk her dog. Sometimes we met outside at the same time. Sometimes we walked together for a few blocks. The dog trotted happily between us. Its tail moved like a small dancing flag. I learned his name was Milo. He learned my footsteps before I reached the fence. He started waiting quietly instead of barking. His excitement turned into calm anticipation. One afternoon, rain poured suddenly from the sky. I saw Milo sitting alone under the porch. I grabbed an old towel and ran outside. I gently dried his wet fur carefully. He leaned into my leg with trust. That moment felt surprisingly emotional. I realized friendships grow in simple places. It's not always through big conversations or dramatic moments. Sometimes they grow through quiet routines, through showing up again and again. Weeks passed, then months quietly followed. Milo became part of my daily rhythm. Some days I felt tired from work. Some days anxiety followed me home silently. But Milo always noticed my energy. He sat closer when I felt low, played harder when I needed distraction. He rested quietly when I needed peace. I had been giving him attention, but he had been giving me comfort. One evening, I sat watching the sunset. Milo lay beside me, breathing slowly. The sky turned soft shades of orange. Cars passed quietly in the distance. I thought about how life changes gently, not with loud announcements or big promises. It changes through small, consistent choices, through kindness offered without expecting return. I remembered how annoyed I felt that first morning, how close I was to complaining. Instead, I had walked outside. Instead, I had chosen connection. And now something beautiful existed. Not perfect, not dramatic, just real. I realized we often misunderstand noise. Sometimes noise is simply a request for care. Sometimes barking is loneliness speaking. Sometimes silence hides quiet pain. That night, I wrote in my journal. I wrote about Milo and his gentle eyes. I wrote about neighbors becoming friends. I wrote about slowing down enough to notice. The next morning, Milo waited calmly again. His owner waved from across the street. I waved back with a full heart. I felt grateful for this small chapter. Life still felt busy sometimes. Problems still appeared without warning. But now, I had learned something important. Connection is created through presence. Kindness does not need perfect timing. It only needs willingness. Sometimes helping someone else heals you too. Sometimes friendship arrives on 4 quiet paws. Thank you for listening to Daily English Stories and Podcasts. I hope this story brought warmth into your day. If you enjoyed this episode, please follow the channel and come back tomorrow for another gentle story. One small story each day is enough. Your English will grow slowly and naturally. I look forward to seeing you again. Till next time, take care and breathe deeply.